Hello everybody, welcome to Short Shot Archery. My name's Anthony, and what I have here is the cheapest plunger on eBay. Now, being that this is the cheapest plunger on eBay, well, how much did I actually pay for it? My situation's a little unique. I ended up getting it on some kind of eBay special, so I personally paid 67 cents. After the sale stopped, it's now available for around $10, which still makes it the cheapest plunger on eBay, unless it's going to change after this video. It's an interesting buy, and it's not something that I would think would be this cheap. So in this video, we're going to find out how it works. So first off, my thoughts and expectations on this are not too high, given the fact that it's a $10 plunger. It comes with a lot of accessories, which is kind of surprising. We'll see how they feel and stuff when we actually open this up. But from just looking through it here, it's kind of interesting that the plunger tip on the plunger that's installed is steel or some kind of metal, and the ones that they supply extra are plastic. That I think that's giving me a sign of what to expect, unless it has a screw-in metal point for some reason. Who knows? Other than that, I'm interested to see how well it actually shoots when I put it into my bow. Again, I'm not expecting too much. For some reason, it does come with an extra spring as well. So we'll see if the two springs are different, if there is actually a spring in here already or not. Alright, so now let's get into actually opening this up. Pretty straightforward. Everything seems to be taped down besides the plunger. Plunger itself is metal on the outside, so this isn't just shiny plastic. It is actually metal. The tip is definitely metal, and so is the barrel of the plunger itself. The back part of the plunger that helps you with the tension of it, just to make sure that it's clear and the plunger button is moving freely. That is plastic, but that's also plastic on a lot of plungers, so that's not a surprise there. We'll go into taking this apart in a bit just to see what's going on the inside. For the case here, we have a little wrench, and that's going to help us loosen up some of the parts on this plunger. So will the Allen keys. These plastic pieces here, though, are very interesting. I guess they're just like a plastic, not like nylon or anything like that. Of course, we'll have to see how much the metal tip on this plunger actually tries to like dig into your arrow shafts. We'll see how that goes. It should be fine. I'm probably not going to shoot it for that many shots, just because, again, this is a $10 plunger, and I currently shoot a biter plunger, which is about $130. So you can buy a lot of these for one biter plunger, but I am sure there's a very good reason, and we're going to find out. Alright, so taking this apart now, and this one here actually adjusts the depth of the plunger so that you can get the correct center shot on your bow. And let's see, it's got two holes for set screws, which is interesting. Only one set screw, and ooh, alright, we're already running into some problems. Very, very, very grainy. Obviously, the metal was not cleaned after it was machined. It kind of feels like it has sand in it. Ooh, and there's little pieces of metal. Oh, this is real nice. So there's some metal flakes. That's going to be healthy. Oh, besides that, where this little set screw, set into the plunger to hold this adjustment in place, it has actually dented this inner tube here, so it's got a pretty deep mark into it from this little set screw being tightened down at the factory, and it's definitely deformed the the barrel here that's supposed to keep your plunger working properly. We'll see if it has a. I'm sure it has an effect on the shot and just how this plunger performs. But yep, already we're experiencing something very interesting. Other than that, this piece here looks fine. Besides all the metal shavings that are coming off of it. So we'll screw that back on, and we'll get into opening this back part up, which is going to give us access to the spring and the actual cushion here. This back part lets you adjust the tension of the plunger so that you can get it to the right tension for your particular spine of arrow. It looks like we're going to switch over to the bigger Allen key for that. Not too sure what the wrench was actually for. I tried using the wrench, and it seems like the Allen key was what actually made it come loose, so kind of confused on the whole purpose of the little wrench they supply. Now backing this out, we'll see what's going on. It does not make the same clicking sound as the biters do, where you can actually feel where it's at. You can get a really good indication of your plunger stiffness. They do provide numbers, which is kind of comical, because if it's not going to click, I don't know, what's the point? Maybe I made a mistake and actually loosened this set screw up a little bit too much. No, there's no clicking. I was not wrong. So they supply you numbers, but there's not really a reason for them, because it's this barrel here for the plunger isn't properly machined so that it would actually click in relation to the numbers. The biter plunger does do this, and it does it really well, and it's a really handy way of writing down and recording how many turns on your plunger you have for a particular spine of arrow, for a particular plunger stiffness, and then you can use that to compare to like the scores you shoot. This plunger seems to pretend to do that like it should, but it doesn't. It doesn't do it at all. So it's kind of like a big fake on that point. All right. Very similar, and I feel like I've seen the same piece in a biter plunger. That just helps hold tension on the spring. That is here. Aha, spring. One spring. Kind of feels like a very heavy spring. And looking at these other ones, it's honestly the same spring. They supply you an extra, so you get two of the same spring. Not super helpful, because generally you're not going to lose your spring. You're going to want different tensions or stiffnesses of spring so that you can get different tensions on your plunger button, so that it can help you tune your arrows better to your bow. Yeah, this is probably not going to do that. This just kind of looks like a spring straight out of a pen. You'd probably be better off borrowing a pen spring if you got some pens laying around. Oh, all right. So everything comes full circle now. So our button here, this nice metal button, it cannot come out. Why? Because, well, like I said, what I said earlier, with there being a big divot in the barrel of the plunger here, well, because it got crushed in from that set screw here being tightened too much, you can no longer get the plunger button out of this plunger. I guess you'd really have to force it, but yeah, this plunger is really screwed up. So there's no point in putting in the plastic plunger tips that they provided, because I cannot get out the metal one. This is kind of what I was expecting when I purchased this, and I thought it would just be interesting to take apart. It is worse than I initially expected. I thought it would be a little bit better than this, but at this point, you're honestly probably worth. It's a worthwhile investment to go and save your money. Like, if you can just afford a $10 plunger, you're probably better off saving till you have $25 or so, maybe a little bit more, because when you start getting into that $30 range, you're going to get a much better piece of equipment than this so far. So with that, I'm going to put this back together, and we're going to try to shoot it. I'll probably do a shot or two out of my bow with my biter plunger, and then do a shot or two with this. I'm going to do my best to get the settings as close as possible. Again, this is a very crude plunger, and who knows if it's even that straight anymore. We'll see if it even screws in my bow, for starters. And we'll see if there's a big sound difference, if the arrows fly terrible. We're going to be doing this at some close distance because I am not shooting 70 meters with this thing. It's not worth it. Poor arrows will probably not make it to the target. Alright, I have my black biter plunger installed. We're going to shoot one shot with that, and then we're going to try out the bargain eBay plunger and see how it goes. Okay, the sound it usually makes. So let's see how the eBay one goes. So first off, unlike the biter, which has a little wrench that allows you to tighten the plunger to the riser of your bow really well and makes it an easy way to make sure it's tight, that it doesn't come loose, there's not really an option on this one. So I'm tightening as hard as I can with my fingers because there's really no other way to do this unless I break out a pair of pliers. So it may come loose in this first one, then we might have to play around with it a little bit after that. Now, I did try my best to match the settings and the plunger stiffness as close as possible. Again, this plunger here is not very accurate in its adjustments, unlike the biter, so we'll see how it goes. My guess is this plunger is going to be much louder. I'm not really worried about arrow flight because we're basically shooting blank bail. This is more about how this actually functions. All right, so surprisingly, it sounded basically the same. I'm very surprised at that. Oh, it doesn't feel the same though. Like, God, it's gritty. Like, it's really gritty. Hopefully you can hear that. Now if I do my biter plunger, yeah, it's no, there really is audio. It's that quiet, it's that smooth. And at a short distance like this, like 8 feet away, yeah, there's probably not much of a difference unless I really go out and try to see how these arrows tune and things like that. But when you're looking for accuracy downrange at 18, 30, 50, and all the way out to Olympic distance of 70 meters, a plunger that's going to travel a lot quieter is going to make a big difference over one that's so loud. Alright, so there you have it. There is the test of this eBay plunger, the cheapest eBay plunger on the internet. And overall, it's not great. Build quality wise, it's really bad. I probably dented this barrel here again, trying to tighten down the bolts on this. You can't see it really, but it actually is moving some. The pieces don't sit up that flush. The tolerances are kind of poor. Then again, it is 13 times cheaper than my high-end biter plunger, but you can tell where the money's going. It's going into machining and things like that. If you really wanted to spend a minimum amount of money on archery, because maybe you just don't have a lot of money, or you just want to experience the sport as cheaply as possible, then I say, sure, go for this one. You're going to be disappointed down the road and you're going to want to change it. But if you're really that excited about getting into Olympic recurve, or just having a plunger on your bow if you're shooting bare bow or any other kind of style that requires a plunger, then sure. But I really don't highly recommend it. You're going to get a better value for your money by saving it up a little bit more and going for that $30 range or so plunger. Of course, my recommendation is definitely to contact your local bow shop. They should be able to give you some advice on that. Of course, high-end plungers, highly recommend the Biter. It's the best in its tier. More mid-tier one would probably be the Shibuya plunger. And, well, this is the bottom, and there's a reason for that. So, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video on this cheap plunger. Maybe we'll check out some other cheap products on eBay in the future. Who knows? So, thank you so much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and as always, happy shooting.